Hi everyone, Charlene Ortiz here. I know it's been a really long time since I've uploaded a video, especially a video where I'm sitting down talking to you guys and giving you a life update, what's been happening with me. This video I'm going to be doing in two different subjects. The first part of my video is just going to be about what's been going on with me and my health and my surgeries and recovery and all that good stuff. Just, you know, a life update. And then the second part of my video is going to be talking about Kaya Simmons and what's been going on with that situation the past several days and what's come to light. So I'm going to put a timestamp in a pinned comment below. If you want to skip right to the Kaya content, then you can skip right to there if that's what you're interested in. So, but anyway, those of you that have been following me or my channel for at least a year or so, you know that I had two major surgeries in 2021. I'm not going to go through all the details of that. If you're interested, you can watch my videos from 2 years ago when I had my first surgery, and then my second surgery in November 2021. So if you want to know what happened there, whatever. But I'm just going to talk about how I'm doing now, my most recent surgery, and just how I've been doing and recovering and all that good stuff. So I apologize. I know I have my loud air conditioner in the background. I am in my ghetto trailer again because we still haven't installed the mini split we have onto our bus. And I have all my dogs in here with me, so if they get up and start knocking stuff around, I apologize ahead of time if I have to pause and, you know, kind of readjust everything. But so the most recent surgery I had was November last year, 2022. And again, those of you that have been following what's been going on with my health and all those issues, you know that I had an ostomy bag. And in November last year, I was finally able to have that bag removed. And again, as many of you know, I absolutely despised that thing. I hated it. It ruined my life. And I was so happy to finally get rid of that. So it's definitely been, the past 2.5 years have without a doubt been the most challenging time of my life for me and my husband, because obviously he's been there going through it with me, my mom as well, you know. So it definitely has been incredibly challenging for myself and you know, anybody else in my life that cares about me and has had to watch me go through this. But especially my husband and my mom, it's been really difficult for them to watch just, you know, all the pain and the surgeries and the recovery and just how challenging this has been for me physically, emotionally, everything. It's really taken a toll on all of us. So it has been I guess a little over 10 months now since I had my surgery in November, and I've made a lot of progress. Coco, no. I've made a lot of progress since I first got home from my third surgery in November. When I initially got home, I was in an incredible amount of pain. My recovery from this last surgery has probably been the most challenging and the slowest and the most painful. Even though this was the least invasive, because this surgery was simply just to you know, tuck the part of my intestines that was sticking out for the bag, tuck that back in, reattach it, and, you know, sew me back up. I mean, any abdominal surgery is going to be major surgery. It was still major surgery, but in comparison to the surgeries that I'd had the year before, it wasn't as invasive, but still very much major surgery. So not only that, it was the third time I had had major surgery in just an 18-month period. So my body was just done. It just, you know, the pain, the vomiting, my body was just absolutely done. And so when I first came home, I was in so much pain. And unfortunately, even after being home after just a few days, I had to go back to the hospital again, because just like I did with my surgery in 2020, in November 2021, I had to go back a few days later because I was still in so much pain. But the same thing happened again with this surgery, where I had to go back to the hospital for several days, because the pain, the vomiting, it was too much. And I was not able to hold down any solid food for a good month. And I'm literally talking about juice, just something as simple as juice. I would throw up juice. So I obviously lost a tremendous amount of weight. Between the surgery I had in November 2021 and the one that I had recently, the more recent one, I was able to gain a good amount of my weight back that I lost from my second surgery. I was able to gain a lot of strength back, and I was able to, you know, really get fit and get strong again. But I lost that pretty quickly after the last surgery. So, you know, once again, for the third time, I had to start back from square one and try to start rebuilding my body, my health, and my strength up again. And it has been a long road. It has been a painful road, an emotional road, and I still have more road ahead of me. I'm still not even close to being fully recovered, or at least to where I was before I started getting sick in 2021. So I'm still a long way from that, but I definitely, again, I've definitely made significant progress. I'm doing a lot better. I'm able to do pretty much all the basic house chores again, take care of the animals, run errands. Well, I don't know, it depends what it is. I still can't like walk around a whole grocery store without getting so exhausted that I need a scooter, like a Walmart or a Home Depot. I'm still not strong enough to be able to do that, but I can walk a lot further, and my stamina is much better than it was when I first came home from surgery. So it has been very difficult for me to motivate myself to get back into shape and to start exercising again, because it is physically painful, and my energy levels are just 0%. Not now. I mean, I'm better now, but when I first started trying to exercise again a couple months ago, oh my God. I mean, just trying to motivate myself, it just felt impossible, because I so badly did not want to start being active again, because I knew it was going to be hard. I knew I was going to be in a lot of pain after my workouts for a while. I knew what was ahead of me, but I also knew that if I did it, my recovery was going to take even longer. And last year, when I started working out again, before my last surgery, I started working out, I think, I would say maybe around May. And then my surgery was in November, so I had like, what's that, like 6 months, you know, to rebuild my strength. And I definitely made a lot of progress. But the beginning was really awful. It was very difficult to get started, and it was so hard to stay committed to it. But as I, you know, got stronger and my stamina built, it started to become easier and easier to stay committed to it. But I had to get through that initial hump of being in incredible pain after each workout, being exhausted, and just having to deal with the recovery time that I was recovering much slower than I normally do when I'm strong and healthy. So Hopefully by the end of the year, I can start running again. I haven't been able to run since I started getting sick in February 2021. That was the last time I've gone for a run. And hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be able to start running again. Because right now I can't really do it anyways because it's so hot, you know, in the summertime here. So now that it's approaching fall, you know, it's in the next 6 to 8 weeks, it will definitely start to cool down here, and I might be able to start going for just really short runs. But I haven't done that since I initially started getting sick. But yeah, so we are definitely picking up the pieces of what the last 2.5 years has done. As I've shared before, obviously physically, you know, it's totally kicked my ass. Emotionally, I went through a lot of depression and just a lot of guilt, just a lot of emotions, a lot of anger, you know, like, why did this happen to me? Because these were conditions that there was nothing I could have done to prevent it. And I'm someone that takes good care of myself. I've always been active. I've always exercised. I've always eaten healthy. And for this to happen to me, you know, was really disheartening, because I felt like, you know, like, I work really hard to be healthy, and yet I still have to deal with these ailments. And that's on top of the chronic illness that I have been dealing with, you know, for much of my life. So, you know, because I'll look at somebody like Amber or Foodie Beauty or whatever, and I'm like, they haven't had to go through what I've been through, and look at how much they abuse their body and how horribly they treat their body. I mean, of course, you know, Amber did have cancer a couple years ago, but she's recovered, and you know, she caught it early, so she certainly didn't have to face the fate that a lot of other people do when they are diagnosed with cancer. And I just felt a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, just a lot of, you know, here I am trying to take good care of myself, and then here's people like Amber Lynn, and, you know, and not just her, you know, all other types of people on the internet that glorify their obesity, like Tess Holliday, you know, the fat acceptance, all those people. They're not dealing with what I'm dealing with, you know, and look at how they abuse their body and treat it terribly and have no respect for their body or for their health. So it was definitely it's definitely been a very trying time for us, and for my husband, you know, to have to watch me go through this and to feel so powerless that there's nothing he can do to take the pain away. The same for my mom. You know, I think for any parent, the worst thing that any parent can endure is to watch their child suffer and to not be able to do anything about it. So, you know, it's not just, you know, when somebody is going through some type of tragedy in life, especially like some type of serious health challenges, it's very challenging for the people that love them, because they don't want to see their loved one in pain and suffering, and yet there's nothing they can do, you know, like they can't take it away. So, but my husband and my mom have both been a rock for me, a foundation for me, and you know, I think I've said this in past videos, and I'm going to say it again because I can't stress it enough. I obviously, I know that they love me, but, you know, I didn't, after what I've been through the past 2.5 years, I see how deep their love for me really goes. And, yeah, and I'm just so grateful, you know, for their support. And, you know, and my husband just obviously being the one that has to live it with me every single day. And because he had to take a lot of time off, months off of work to take care of me, because I needed a caretaker 24/7 after each surgery for a while. It destroyed us financially. And before I got sick, when we first moved out to where we are now and bought the property that we're at now, we were in a good position to start a business and, you know, to build our house. I mean, we had our bus, you know, our bus conversion, and then, you know, my neighbor gave us this trailer that we're going to renovate. But, you know, we were in a good position, you know, to start a business like we've been wanting to do for years. And then a few months after we moved here, I started getting sick. And all those plans, like, it just disappeared. And so, yeah, just a lot of the disappointment. And when you've gone through something like this in your life, you have to pick up the pieces, because it really, whatever plans you had for your future, whatever your life, your reality was, before you got sick, like, everything just completely changes. And I remember many times when I was in the hospital, especially after my second surgery, because that was the one that really, really kicked my ass, was my second surgery. I remember just being in that bed, looking at my emaciated body, you know, looking at my walker that I needed just to be able to, you know, get up and go to the bathroom that was a few feet away, all these machines that I was attached to, because of the antibiotics that they were giving me. They were very strong, and I started to experience kidney failure, and I had to have dialysis. Thank God my kidneys were able to recover, because my doctors didn't know if they would. They said it was possible that I might have to be on dialysis forever. They, you know, that the antibiotics, all the strong medication that I was taking, you know, might have damaged my kidneys that badly that I would have to be on dialysis for the rest of my life. But I remember so many times just sitting there, just feeling like it was just surreal. Like, I can't believe this is happening to me. I can't believe this is my reality right now. You know, just not that long ago, I was running 12 miles a day, you know, like, I was in amazing shape. I mean, I've always struggled with, you know, my fibromyalgia and my chronic pain from car accidents, and, you know, even my surgery that I had when I was a child, which I've shared, you know, throughout the years that I've had my channel. But none of it, I mean, none of those illnesses or conditions set me back like what's happened to me the past 2.5 years. So, but I can honestly say that we are in a better place, just in general, in every way, you know, physically, emotionally, even financially. You know, we're picking up the pieces, but it has been very, very challenging, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Unfortunately, my doctor said this is something that could even come back. You know, there's no guarantee that I'll never, you know, have to go through this again, which is definitely a terrifying thought, especially if it happened, you know, like 10 years down the road or longer, because, you know, the older you are, the harder it is to recover from things like that. So, but of course I don't obsess over that, or, you know, I don't let my mind be consumed about that, because, you know, you can't worry about stuff that you don't know if it's going to happen or what have you. But he said it is possible that it could come back again. So, but either way, you know, I'm just grateful for, sorry guys, I keep pushing I don't have like the best phone stand that I'm using right now. I'm very grateful for the progress that I've made, and for where I'm at now. And we have been able to start the building process for our house. And, well, where I live, at least the county that I live in, the codes are such that before you actually start building your house, all the utilities have to already be set in place. Where I live, everybody has to have a well. There's no city water because I'm kind of more on the outskirts of the town that I live in a little more of an isolated area. So you have to have a septic tank and a well out here. There's no city that you can attach to. And electric. The electric is attached to the city, but not the water, not the sewage. So all three of those utilities have to be set up before you can actually start building. So we've been able to, you know, little by little start getting started, you know, with getting the utilities set up, so that we can, you know, eventually build our house. So but yeah. And I am excited, you know, for what's ahead of us. And, you know, I feel like I'm at a place finally, me and my husband feel like we're finally at a place where we can leave this behind us. I haven't had to go to the hospital, for a while. I did have to go briefly in May for several days, but in general, you know, I haven't had to go back to the hospital for anything too serious, or because between May of 2021 and February of 2022, I was in and out of the hospital at least 10 times, at least. I know it's been more than that, but I know it's been at least 10 times. And each time I was in the hospital, my stay was at least 5 nights. So I just felt like I was never going to get back to a normal life. Like I was never going to be able to just function, you know, and do basic things again like I used to. And it, you know, it really is amazing, the things we take for granted, just the most simple things that we do in everyday life. How we take them for granted until we lose it. Something as simple as just being strong enough and healthy enough to drive to the grocery and walk around and buy your groceries, you know, the ability to work, you know, to have a job, stuff like that. You know, they're not things that we really, you know, think about every day, because, you know, for most people, you're going to be able to do those things for most of your life until you're, you know, I don't know, 100 years old, whatever. But at least at my age, you know, I'm in my 40s. You know, I'm still very young. You know, most people at this age are still very resilient and healthy and capable, and, you know, can complete basic daily tasks without even a second thought. And it is amazing when that's taken away from you. Like, you realize, wow, you know, like there are so many things that we can take for granted sometimes. So, but I do want to start uploading regularly again. I know before we moved from the horse ranch that I was living at, my goal was to reach 1,000 subscribers, which I was able to do. And my main reason for wanting to do that is because I wanted to do live stream workouts with you guys. And that is still something that I want to do. I mean, I still have plans for my channel. I still want to provide, you know, fitness advice and exercises. You know, even do commentary videos sometimes if anything exciting is happening in girl world or what have you. Even though I don't really talk about Amberlynn so much anymore, unless something like really crazy happens. You know, I mean, I don't know, she's like, her life has basically been Groundhog Day for the last 10 years. So I don't, you know, I mean, I follow what's happening. Like I watch Alex is Shook and Karina Kaboom, and I think they're the only two ones. Oh Lordy, It's Jordy is another one I like to watch. And some of the compilation ones like Apathetic Fox, Bottle. You know, I think Bottle's kind of fun, pretty funny. But anyway, I do keep up with what's going on. But as far as like doing any commentary or videos, like, there's really not much to say, because you know, I mean, I know she did have a recent breakup with Wipey, but again, it's not interesting enough for me to really do a video on, you know, unless it's something really, really crazy that happens. So, So anyway, I'm going to be keeping you guys updated with my health and what's going on with us building our house, and you know, and just again uploading more regularly and trying to, you know, start building the channel that I've wanted to have since I started YouTube. And at some point, being able, hopefully, you know, by early next year, be able to do those live stream workouts with you guys, and yeah, just help you reach whatever health and fitness goals that you have for yourself. So now I want to talk about what's been going on with Kaya Simmons, that whole situation, that channel. I actually just finished watching what's the name of that? I think the name of the channel is Radiant Brit. A real petite, real pretty woman that has done a couple videos on the situation so far, and I've watched several of her videos on other people and other topics too, and I always enjoy her insight. But I think most of us came to find out what happened through that A What channel. I believe the woman that runs that channel, I think her name is Sharon. So I think most of us became aware of what was happening with Sharon's channel. And if you're tuning in to this video, because, you know, it says Kaya Simmons in the title, you obviously have already watched Sharon's video, the live stream that she did. Well, was it live stream? I don't know. Well, at least the interview that she did with Kaya and her partner. And you've probably already seen the apology video that her partner posted not that long ago. So, but yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts because I definitely really liked Kaya's channel. I definitely was a supporter of Kaya. I discovered her when she did a Young Dumb Honey Bun parody, and even though Young Dumb Honey Bun's not really on the girl world scene anymore, I guess she's gone more towards political commentary. Which is fine, you know. But anyway, I've always thought she was kind of ridiculous, so I really thought the parody she did of her was funny. But I just really liked Kaya's personality, and I liked her demeanor. She seemed like a very genuine, sincere individual. She just seemed like, you know, just a simple person that was, you know, upfront, you know, about who she was and what she was about, and she just seemed like somebody that was real laid back, and in a lot of ways reminded me of me, you know. I felt like I could relate to her with a lot of things, and I always enjoyed, you know, her videos, even though I don't really care to watch content on foodie beauty. I did like to listen to Kaya. I liked her accent. I thought the way she talked was kind of endearing. But yeah, I think for, you know, everyone that supported her and everybody that watched her channel, that we all just really liked how down to earth and just laid back and real she was. So I think that's why when all of this information about her partner came to light, people were just really shocked and really blindsided by this, you know, revelation, you know, of his past. And I'm definitely not the type of person that when drama starts in the community, I'm definitely not the type of person to be all fire and brimstone right away. I want to find out what's happening myself and get the details myself before I make any judgments on how I feel about what that person did and what happened. Like with when that whole, like, for those of you that have been part of the Amberverse, you know, for a while, I'm going to turn my AC down just a little bit. It's getting kind of cold in here now. You may remember the channel Shaquana Jefferson. And when all that debacle came out about Charlie Gold, and that she had made some tasteless comments about Charlie Gold's makeup and all that stuff. Anyway, it's just, to me, this is a little off topic, but I think it's so fascinating what the Amberverse and Girl World has become, because when I first I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to keep this thing from falling. When I first came to find out about Amber and discovered who she was, it was through Michael B. Petty. He had just started his channel, and at that time the Amberverse was just about Amber, and there weren't that many reaction channels yet. There was Michael B. Petty, there was Zachary Michael, Shaquana Jefferson, and a few others, you know, but the Amberverse wasn't really didn't have that far of a reach, and it's incredible to me now just how that universe, or this whole girl world, what it's evolved into. And now, you know, we're talking about a situation that has absolutely nothing to do with Amber Lynn, but it is in this whole girl world universe that we're all, I guess, a part of, or that we all follow now. But yeah, so when all that, like, that stuff came out with Shaquana Jefferson, or Shannon, you know, her name was Shannon, I supported her. I didn't think she was a racist. She immediately got attacked, you know, by Hater Nation and the community, but I was already feeling the way that she was feeling about Charlie Gold. I was already feeling that way about Charlie Gold before she did that video, that I felt like she was full of empty promises, wasn't making any progress, and I really supported Charlie Gold when she first came onto the scene. I did, and I did several years ago when I was still living on the horse ranch. I did a video on a documentary called Fatopia, and at the end of that video, Charlie Gold was just starting to come onto the scene, and this was before even Alan Roberts or Beast to Beast had given her recognition. At the end of that video, I praised her, you know, because I really thought she was the real deal, and you know, what have you. But I've done videos on her, so if you ever want to check out videos that I did on her several years ago, what my thoughts were at that time. But my point is that I'm not the type of person to immediately start judging somebody when I find out that something has happened, or some, you know, unfavorable information has come to light. So when I found out that Kaya's partner had been doxxed and had a criminal past as a pimp, obviously immediately that sounds shocking right away, but I still wanted to find out what really happened, and see what the full story was behind it. Sorry guys. So anyway, and again, because I really liked Kaya, and you know, I mean, I've known some shady people in my life that have done some shady stuff, and I've known people that have done some pretty horrible things in their past, that are truly and sincerely remorseful for what they've done, whether they went to prison or not, or whatever happened. I have known people that have made bad decisions in their past, and they look back on it with incredible remorse, incredible regret, and are changed people. So I didn't automatically want to assume the worst about this situation. Paco, get back over there, lay down. Paco, come on, hurry up. But so yeah, I didn't want to start being all fire and brimstone right away until I found out more details, watched a few more videos about it, and just to kind of find out what was happening. I think pretty much everybody, or most people, would agree that the fact that her partner has a criminal past and has been to prison for soliciting a minor for prostitution. I don't think that was something that that people immediately felt like, oh my God, you know, look at what a hypocrite Kaya is. Look at how evil her partner is. I don't think that initially people were ready to start judging her and abandoning her channel when they found out just the initial information. Like myself, I think a lot of people wanted to find out more information what was happening. So I don't know that a lot of people, you know, were already ready to write her off once they found that out. And that wasn't the problem that many people had. The problem was the response from her and her partner, and how horrible it was, and what a train wreck the interview that they did with Sharon, the A What channel, what a train wreck that interview was. As you know, as I said, recently her partner has uploaded another video. You know, unfortunately, because of what their initial reaction was, I think it's going to be very difficult for a lot of people to find his more recent response today. They're going to have a difficult time finding that to be sincere. That now they're just trying to what's the phrase when you try to clean up about a big mess? I'm sorry guys, I do this all the time. Ever since my surgery, my mind is just not as sharp as it used to be. There's a certain phrase for it, but anyway, that they were just trying to clean up the mess that they had already made with that horrible interview that they had done with Sharon. I feel like I thought that Sharon did an excellent job in that interview, and I think most people did. I think they most people think she did a really great job. She didn't let them make excuses. You know, she was very blunt, very bold, very direct with them. I was concerned if I thought Sharon was the right person to be doing that interview with them, because to my understanding, she's also been a victim of SA in her past. I think that, she has shared that. To my understanding, she has been. And during the interview she had with him, she did get emotional at one point and started crying. And I was concerned that because of the trauma that she had suffered in her past, if this was good for her to be interviewing two people that were justifying such a heinous act, a heinous crime, and flat out literally saying that they had no remorse, that there were no victims involved. I was concerned that maybe it was too close to, it might hit too close to home for Sharon, and that maybe it would be too triggering for her and have a really negative emotional effect on her later. I mean, she seems like a pretty tough woman. So I hope that, you know, she has people in her life or friends that have been checking on her since that interview, just making sure that she's okay. Because if you're someone who has suffered, you know, that type of abuse in your past, and now you're interviewing people that are guilty, or at least, you know, one of them is guilty of doing really horrible things and has no remorse, like that could really, you know, bring up a lot of old emotions, old pain, hurt, fear, you know, trauma, what have you. So that was the only reason I was concerned if she was the best person, just because of emotionally how it might impact her. So so yeah, if you're watching this, Sharon, I hope you're doing okay, and I hope that you're getting support and encouragement, because you know, to me it seemed like that interview was very taxing on you because of what you've suffered in the past, you know. So but again, you know, she seems like a pretty tough woman. So, but when Kaya initially came out with her response, the first video she did, I think a lot of people were really shocked when she said that there were no victims. And one thing that she was really trying to clarify was that it wasn't a child, it was a 17-year-old teenager. I mean, I get what she was, at least I think I understand the point she was trying to make, is that, you know, like a man being attracted to a 5-year-old child as opposed to a 17-year-old teenager who's fully developed and has the body of a full-grown woman are two very different things. You know, even though in the eyes of the law, they're both considered to be children, one is a child and one is biologically not a child. And you know, I've certainly known many girls, you know, who were at a young age very developed, very voluptuous, and at a very young age, and had very mature bodies. So at least I think that was the point she was trying to make, is that, you know, this wasn't like a small child. This was a girl that was, you know, developed as a full-grown woman. So, okay, you know, I understand why you would want to make that distinction. But the problem is that, again, number one, by law, they're still considered a child, number one. Number two, even though biologically they are no longer a child, emotionally and mentally they are not fully developed. Our cognitive skills are not fully developed until we are in our early 20s on average, you know, for the average person, which is why the drinking age is 21, because that's when our cognitive skills are fully developed. So that's why teenagers act like they're crazy, you know, because they're mentally not fully developed, and that's just biology. That's just nature, you know. I mean, I was a crazy teenager. I was a pain in the ass, you know. I still can be, you know, but so because for that reason, even though, you know, she wasn't biologically a child, mentally and emotionally, these victims were very vulnerable, very easily influenced, and very much victims of what her partner had participated in and what her partner had done. They were very much victims, because I mean, you know, like I was listening to Peanut's insight and video about this, and you know, she was saying, well, her channel is called Pistachio now. I still call her Peanut, but anyway, you know, she was saying, because one thing, the point that Kaya and her partner were trying to make was that, oh, well, they chose this, you know, like they were the ones that wanted to do this. You know, some women are just hoes, and hoes are hoes, whatever. I don't remember his exact wording, but, you know, I mean, that's basically what he said. There is no 17-year-old girl that pursues a life of prostitution because that's what they want, because that's always been their dream in life. You know, they do it out of desperation, especially if they are working with a pimp. They're doing it out of desperation. Either, you know, they've suffered incredible trauma and abuse in their past with their family. Maybe they're runaways and they don't have any other way to make money. Maybe they're addicted to drugs. Who knows? But regardless, that is a profession that is chosen out of desperation, you know? Now, I am not someone that is against prostitution. I'm not. I'm someone that actually supports legal prostitution. Because I feel like, you know, if a woman wants to provide those types of services and she's a consenting, mature woman and wants to provide those types of services to a man, you know, like why is it our business if there is money that is involved in that type of transaction? You know, there's plenty of girls, you know, that like in college or whatever will go out and sleep with a different guy every single night, you know, and but you know, because they're not getting paid for it, it's legal and it's okay. But if you get paid for it, all of a sudden it's not okay. So that, I mean, that's just, you know, I mean, I know a lot of people, I'm sure, would find that controversial. Sorry guys, but I do believe if a woman does want to provide those types of services to a man, that is her prerogative, as long as, again, she is a mature woman. There should be an age, you know, just like with drinking, there should be an age where it is allowed for a woman to be able to make that choice. Like where I live in Nevada, and there are counties in Nevada where prostitution is legal. There's a brothel, a legal brothel, close to where I live, and it's been around since the 70s. And the women that work there make good money. They enjoy what they do. They love providing a fantasy, you know, for their clients. The role playing, whatever it is, they're very comfortable with their sexuality. And they really enjoy providing these types of services to their clients. And I don't have a problem with that, to be honest with you. But that is not the same as a teenager being pimped out by somebody because she's vulnerable, because of past abuse or trauma or what have you that has happened to her in the past. To me, they're not the same thing. I don't know. Maybe some would say it is. I don't think it is. I don't think a 25-year-old woman, you know, who is participating in a porn movie is the same as a 15-year-old girl being exploited by a pimp. I don't think those. I don't think those are the same thing. So. And the reason I'm making that point is because and I see what Kaya and her partner were trying to get at when they were saying some hoes are just hoes, some girls are just hoes, some girls are just that way, and that's true. Some girls are just, again, they're very comfortable with their sexuality, and you know, and I feel like as long as you're safe, you know, take precautions, you know, be wise about it. I mean, why shouldn't you feel free to be able to experience that, you know? And I don't think it necessarily makes you a hoe, you know? But so I get the point they were trying to make there, but that did not apply to what he was guilty of. That was not the same thing. I'm sorry, but it's not. And I've certainly known girls throughout my life that were very promiscuous at a very young age, you know, much younger than what they should be. But, you know, again, it doesn't mean, like, even if say her, even if I don't know her partner's name, but even if he was sitting on a park bench and, you know, a 16-year-old girl came up to him and said, hey, will you be my pimp? You know, will you prostitute me? And he agreed to do it. He still is exploiting her, and he is still guilty of a crime. He's still doing something that is wrong with somebody that is vulnerable and cannot completely understand how the choice they're making to participate in prostitution could do incredible damage to them for the rest of their life, you know. So but you know, guys, I think I'm gonna do this in two parts, just because I still get really tired, you know. My stamina is still kind of low, so I think I'm gonna pause the video right now and then rest for a little bit, and I'm gonna come back and finish my thoughts. So all right, but for you guys, it'll only be like 1 or 2 seconds. Okay, I'll be back. Hey everyone, I'm back now. It's actually the next day, or the next morning. I just was feeling so exhausted last night. The past week, or not this past week, but the week before, I was really, really sick. Just vomiting, just a lot of stomach issues. I mean, you know, because of the result of my surgeries, obviously. Even though I am in general doing better, I still have bad episodes, and I almost went to the hospital because usually if I have a bad episode, it'll last a few days and then I'll, you know, start feeling better. But I've already watched the first part of the video I filmed yesterday, and I'm kind of shocked at how much weight I lost last week. And I look at how I look now in my videos as opposed to before I started getting sick, and my face was just fuller, and just, I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna get that back, you know, as I get better and gain weight. But it really is a roller coaster, because I'll be doing okay, I'll be working out again, digesting food, gaining weight, and then I'll have a bad episode that'll last 3 or 4 days, and then, you know, I'll lose 5, 6, you know, sometimes even 7 or 8 pounds, which in my position is not a blessing. Some women, you know, would give anything to be able to lose weight like that, but I think most women are smart enough to know that this would not be the ideal way to be able to keep your weight down. It sucks. So anyway, I wanted to finish off. I was right now I was watching Yaba do a video on Foodie Beauty, the most recent video she did, and you know, I guess Chantal was trying to do a elliptical machine or something, and then she was on camera talking about how hard it's been for her to start exercising, and she's weak and depressed, and you know, guys, I just, like I said yesterday, or in the earlier part of this video, I just want to reach through the screen and just slap her, you know, and just like, bitch, you don't know, like, you really don't know pain, and you did this to yourself. And again, sometimes that's why it's hard for me to watch people like Chantal or Amber. I can't always watch them, because I get angry and resentful, because I feel like, you know, I've had to deal with all these health issues, and I'm working so hard to try to keep myself strong and healthy, get back to where I was. And here you are, you don't have any underlying issues that's keeping you from becoming stronger and healthier. And but it's hilarious, because Yaba starts playing like these really sappy music in the background, so that definitely adds comic relief. That makes it a lot more tolerable to watch. I love Yaba. But anyway, so I just wanted to continue what I was talking about with Kaya yesterday, and just finish up my thoughts on the whole issue. So anyway, I believe yesterday I left off talking about, you know, the difference between women, you know, that are mature and choose to go into sex work at a more mature age, as opposed to teenagers that are being solicited by people like Kaya's partner. But there's several more points that I still want to make. Sorry guys, I had to adjust my phone real quick, but anyway, I don't really have, I guess, that much more to say. I don't think I have anything to say that hasn't already been said about this whole situation. I think we can all agree that if Kaya and her partner's initial response was different, she might have even been able to save her channel. Now, there were two things in Sharon's response to Kaya. With Sharon's response to Kaya's first video when she first addressed it, and also Sharon, and actually no, I think Sharon made these 2 points that I disagree with. I think she made these 2 points in her first reaction. The first one was that she felt that Kaya should have been honest about this and brought this up years ago when she first started her channel, and that I don't agree. Just because you have a YouTube channel, and this is general, this isn't just apply to Kaya's situation, this is just something I feel in general. Just because someone has a YouTube channel or some type of social media public platform does not give us the right to know everything about their past, their personal life, or what have you. I think most people would agree with that. You know, even like celebrities, they have a right to their privacy. You know, they're there to entertain us, and that's pretty much it. I think with YouTubers, one reason that we sometimes feel so much more betrayed when we feel that they haven't shared information with us that's pretty relevant about their past or pretty serious is because we feel more of a connection, because they're normal people like us. You know, Kaya's not in movies and driving around in limousines. She, you know, like the trailer I'm in right now, you know, where her background looks better than mine, you know, like, so, but when she talks about her house and all that stuff, like, I feel relatable because we need to renovate the trailer and put the mini split in the bus. Like, there's a lot of work that we're doing right now for the bus, the trailer, the house, the property, blah blah blah. But for us, it's very exciting. You know, it's kind of a different situation. But either way, you know, so I feel like because a lot of these YouTubers, especially the smaller ones, we do feel more of a connection because they are normal people like most of us. You know, the ones that aren't huge YouTubers like Kaya or Peanut or Yaba, you know, like we're none of them are people that live luxurious lives. So I think that's one reason why sometimes we can take it a little more personal, even if we don't know them personally. But I don't agree that Kaya was obligated to share that information with us. I get what a lot of people are saying, how, you know, how can she be going on her channel talking about Chantal and a lot of the mistakes that Chantal has made, and you know, knowing that her partner has this type of a past. Well, just because you've made mistakes or the people in your life closest to you have made mistakes in the past doesn't mean that you can't criticize bad decisions other people are making, especially if it was a mistake that was made almost 20 years ago. Again, I'm saying this in general terms. I'm going to get more specific here in a second in relation to her. I'm just saying in general terms. You know, and so it really, to me, is more about what your stance is on the bad decisions that you've made in the past. And again, I think if people, I really don't think that a lot of people would have been that upset that she never shared that type of information about her partner. You know, because I mean, like one thing Kai was saying, when is there a good time? Well, there is. I mean, that's not information there's ever really a good time. The only circumstance in which I feel that someone's past is important is if their past is directly related to what their channel is about. Say, for example, you're a doctor giving general medical advice on your YouTube channel, but you've had, 3 or 4 malpractice suits against you, that you've lost, or you've been found guilty of malpractice, and it only happened a couple years ago. Like, to me, that's relevant because, it's directly related. All right, I'm sorry about that, guys. My husband just walked in. He just has a job interview for a really good job tonight, so that was good news. Anyway, because he's been looking for a better job, so he has a job interview tonight, which is exciting. But, so I apologize. He might walk in again, so if there's a few breaks, I do apologize. What was I saying? I was talking about how I didn't agree that Kaya was obligated to be upfront about this initially, because again, we all have skeletons in our closet. We all have things in our past, that we prefer to stay private. And I feel like when it comes to past decisions or criminal history with family, or I think that should stay within the family. That's how I was raised. Me and my mom, we're my husband, we're private people. There are certain things that for us, because I'm in my late 40s. I grew up in the generation where there was no social media, and so did Sharon. Yeah, I think she's around the same age as me. But there was no social media. Your private life was private to strangers. You didn't share it, to anybody. So that's how I grew up, and I maintain that for the most part. I just feel like there's certain things that should stay within close family, friends, whatever. You don't need to be sharing your dirty laundry, and I don't think it's a wise decision to always be sharing your dirty laundry to people. But because again, I have skeletons in my closet. My husband does, my mom does, my uncle, my sister, my friend, my neighbor, everybody. I mean, we don't have anything to that degree, like maybe an unpaid, ticket that I didn't pay, and didn't go to court for, stuff like that, like infractions or whatever. But regardless, I feel that stuff that that type of personal history should stay within just family and close friends, unless it's directly related to your channel. But again, I'm sure a lot of people would have been very forgiving of that if their initial response was different. Number 2, another thing that Sharon said, Kaya kept saying, when she initially responded, we're going to do the live stream on Sunday. It's not my story to tell. And Sharon kept saying it is. And that I also disagree with. I don't think it is. It's not her crime. It's not her past. Yes, it's her partner's, and she knew about it before they started dating. But if I had a criminal past, especially one where I was convicted of such heinous crimes, and my husband had a YouTube channel and he was on there, spewing my dirty laundry to his audience, I would be furious. Because I'd be like, that, if I want to share that, to the public, I will share that. Because once it's on the internet, the internet is forever. It never goes away. So you need to be considerate of the information you share on your public platform about your family and the people that are close to you in your life. I think you need to be considerate and sensitive, making sure that if you do plan to share something, that they're okay with it, that you have their permission. I don't think you should ever share really sensitive information like that without that person's permission. So I didn't agree with that. I did feel like it was her partner's story to tell, not Kaya's, because it wasn't her crime. She wasn't the one that committed it. But again, I'm speaking in general terms. So because my husband, he doesn't have a social media presence. He like nothing. you know, like you wouldn't be able to find him except for maybe some pictures on my Facebook, but but he doesn't have a presence. He's a private guy. And again, as am I. You know, I do share some personal things in my life, but you know, there are, again, certain things that I will always leave just within me, my mom, my sister, my husband, my family, what have you. So, because again, it's especially if it's something that somebody else did and it's not something that I was guilty of, they can share that if they feel comfortable at some point. So, because, you know, we live in an age now where people, I feel like, overshare, and some things should just be kept, you know, private. But and we live in an age now where, again, I think people's expectations, some people kind of feel entitled to know certain things about YouTubers that they support or that they follow, when we're not really entitled to know those things, again, unless it's directly related to what their channel is about. So, you know, but again, the problem wherein lies with their response. Not necessarily the crime committed, not necessarily that she never said anything about it, not even necessarily that she criticizes Chantal when she and her partner have a past, you know. Like Sharon, she has a past, you know, and but she criticizes Amber Lynn. So again, just because you have a past doesn't mean you have no right to criticize other people. It just, again, it just depends on the context of the information, what you're criticizing, what have you. But what I would have done if I had ended up in a similar situation as her, I would have, you know, I would have done a video very briefly. I would not have done a live stream. I would have done just a pre-recorded so I could just focus on what I wanted to say. Because with the live stream, you're going to have all these comments coming in. Some people might start judging you right away. You might feel defensive because what people are saying, you know, yada, yada, yada. So I would have done a pre-recorded one so I could just focus on what I wanted to say. I would have addressed it briefly, and I would have, you know, said that I understand this information has come to light. I would have said, you know, this is certainly not something that my partner is proud of or that I'm proud of. We, you know, he's made bad decisions in the past. He is remorseful. He does have tremendous regret for what he's done. And for those of you that have been negatively affected by this, or if you feel betrayed by me, I apologize. You know, whatever. I would have come on there and been humble, remorseful, direct. I would have said, you know, I probably would have also said, like what she said, you know, if you feel you can't support me, I understand. You know, I might feel the same way, you know. If that was her initial response, and she showed compassion and empathy for the victims of the crime, and he wouldn't have even had to, I'm sorry guys, my dog Coco keeps knocking around my little light here, but and even if he never came on the channel and explained his side of the story, I think a lot of people would have been able to accept that, even if he never came to explain himself. If she would have just said, you know, just a brief, direct response that was humble and remorseful and apologetic, you know. And I think a lot of she would have lost subscribers, of course she would have, but now that they have had, now after that train wreck of an interview they did with Sharon, now, you know, like whatever they have to say now, I don't think is going to hold any merit, because he was very defensive. And one thing that who was I listening to? I can't remember always who said what. I think Sharon, when Sharon first learned of this information, I believe it was her. I believe she felt that maybe Kaya was being brainwashed or manipulated, and then Peanut was saying no, you know, she's a grown woman. So people have kind of differing opinions in terms of the nature of their relationship. Personally, I was shocked when I found out that she even had a partner. I had no clue that she even had a partner. And all I know is about her grandma and her little dogs. And I will say there were a couple things that with the dogs, there was, I wouldn't say a couple. I guess the dogs was kind of one thing that always, I don't know, I was kind of curious about, because they are purebred little bulldogs, and I think they're French bulldogs. And any purebred dog is going to be expensive if you adopt it, if you get the dog from a breeder. And I know that she talks about her financial struggles or what have you. So, but I don't know the situation behind that. Like Paco, he's a purebred shepherd, and he was given to us by one of my husband's former co-workers. You know, they had 2 shepherds that had a litter of 7 puppies. They actually wanted us to take 2, but we already have 2 dogs. Well, 3. We have 2 big ones, 2 big pit bulls, and then, you know, a little terrier and Paquito. But anyway, so I was always curious, did she buy those dogs? You know, what have you. So, but God damn it, I totally forgot the point that I was going to make. Hold on a second. Let me try to remember what I was going to say. Okay, I think I remember what I was going to say. But anyway, I think had she had a very different response in the beginning, I really feel like this could have gone away pretty quickly, and she could have kept a good percentage of her audience, maybe taken a break for a while, and would have been able to come back and kept doing her videos. So, I know the point that I was trying to make. I don't know the nature of the relationship. I mean, none of us do, because we're not in it, you know. We don't know her or him personally. But what I thought was kind of shocking is that she actually allowed him to go on her channel and talk about things the way that he did. And that reason is why I'm kind of leaning more towards maybe he does manipulate her. Maybe he is more controlling of her than what she realizes or is able to recognize. And I say that because any of us that have been in a relationship, that have had a partner, you know, for any amount of time, a year, a couple of years, especially 12 years, you know that person well. You know what they're good at and what they're not good at. Like, I know my husband well. There are certain things that he is not good at, that it's better if I deal with it, and vice versa. There's certain things that he knows I'm not good with, and it's better that he handles it. So I think most people in a committed relationship could say that about their partner. Like, they know what their weaknesses are. They know how well they're able to communicate. And so, you know, you kind of, you know, plan whatever responsibilities or tasks that you do based on that. So it was surprising to me that she didn't know, either, number one, didn't know him well enough to know that the response he was going to have was probably going to be really bad and make things worse. Or she did know that, but she felt it was appropriate for him to still go and do that interview, and again, just totally make everything so much worse than it already was. That really took me back, that she allowed him to do that and didn't know him well enough, or even just how he viewed what had happened, didn't understand that well enough to think, you know what, he does not need to be doing an interview about this. I'll go on there and speak on his behalf. And she could even have explained, you know, like, he's just not someone who's comfortable being on camera, and that's fine. People will be okay with it or not, you know. But that was something that I was like, wow, like, I'm really surprised that she didn't know him well enough to think he does not need to be going on there doing an interview, because I know what he's going to say, how he's going to respond, and it's going to be bad. So, or again, maybe the relationship is controlling. She's in denial or just doesn't want to admit it. And he said, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and there's nothing you can do about it. And she felt like she just needed to submit to that. I don't know. But I just felt that that was pretty bizarre. So I think Kyla's channel probably is done. You know, I don't know. Maybe she came back in a couple years, you know, with a different channel name, rebuilt her audience. I don't know, maybe she could gain an audience again. And another thing I thought was kind of bizarre, and this was a point that the channel, oh, I'm sorry, honey. I didn't mean to smack you, it was an accident. But I accidentally smacked I was grabbing something, accidentally smacked my little dog in the head. Poor thing. But anyway, it's okay, baby, because he gets really freaked out about everything. What was the point I was making? Hold on, guys. Let me try to remember what I was saying. Okay, I remember now. But the channel, I think the name of the channel is Radiant Brit. I think I mentioned her earlier. But she said something that I was thinking the exact same thing. Is, to me, it was kind of bizarre that he even got doxxed, because she's not a big channel, and I haven't noticed any type of negative internet or negative opinions about her. Like, I haven't noticed any channels that focus on her and how they don't like her. I'm sure there have people that have done videos that maybe don't like her, might have mentioned it, but I wasn't able to really find any channels that seem to really have it out for her. So I believe that it had to be somebody in their personal life that did this. And again, that YouTuber Radiant Brit said I think that's the name of her channel, said exactly what I was thinking. And why now? You know, why 18 years later? Why, or even, I don't know how long Kaya's had her channel, but it's been years. It's definitely been years, and she's had at least 5 years. I'm pretty sure. Why now? You know, it's just kind of bizarre to me. So maybe, I don't know, they pissed off a neighbor, a friend. Maybe they had a recent falling out with a friend or a family member. Maybe their dog keeps pooping on their neighbor's lawn. I don't know. But I feel it had to be somebody that knows them personally, and for whatever reason just had it out for her. And maybe there was some type of a recent falling out with this individual, and they decided, I'm going to destroy her and her partner, and I'm going to expose this information. You know, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. But, you know, it's a shame. You know, it's really a shame that just first of all, that this even happened. You know, you know, stuff like this even exists in the world. You know, it's a tragedy, but it's a shame with how they handled it. It's a shame how what her and her partner's initial response was. You know, it really is shameful how they initially responded to it. And I really think she could have saved her channel if she would have just initially just approached it in a direct, humble way. She could have just been direct and said, yeah, you know, guys, because this is my partner's past, I'm not going to discuss this anymore. I mean, you guys already know what there is to know. All I can tell you is that he is sorry. I am sorry for his victims. And this is something that he's very remorseful and regretful about, you know, and I'm sorry for those of you that feel hurt by this. And to the victims, you know, especially, because who knows what their life is like now. Who knows how much this might have ruined it. Who knows? Hopefully they're doing okay. You know, I don't know. But anyway, those are my thoughts. because I do feel like this situation, because again, because Kai is not really a huge YouTuber, I really think this is probably going to fizzle out in the next 2 or 3 weeks. People probably stop talking about it. So unless something else big comes to light, I probably won't comment about it again. But either way, I do plan on doing, as I said earlier, more regular uploads now that I am, you know, in general, getting better, even though I still have bad episodes. I do, in general, I am starting to get better. And I do want to, you know, even start sharing some exercises with you guys, even just really basic stuff that I did in order for me to get my strength back and come back from where I was, you know, from the past 2.5 years, and just show you guys how I did it. I wanted to document it in real time, but again, I was just always exhausted, you know, setting the camera up and, you know, talking while I'm demonstrating exercise. I just, you know, didn't have the stamina, and I still don't really right now. So I did want to document it in real time, but either way, I do want to share when I do have more stamina and I'm more resilient. I do want to share how I've been able to start bringing myself back, you know, from what's happened. So, all right, guys, I know this was a long video. I know I ramble a lot, so I'm sorry, just how I am. So, thank you so much for your time and attention. As always, I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are about just everything that happened. Do you think she was obligated to share it? Do you think it was her story to tell or not? You know, what do you think prostitution should be legal? Do you think I'm crazy for believing that? You know what? Like, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are as well. So